What's up? It's Jeremy Picker from Amber Creative.
This is Deanna with In the Zoning and Print Girl Mafia.
This is Ray Weiss with Printing United Alliance.
You're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy, and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Fashion to the people.
All right, welcome to the show. It is Friday, January 24th, 2025. My name is Aaron Montgomery from our Success Group, where I get to guide business owners away from stress and anxiety towards more clarity. And we're talking today about innovations and what's going on in the industry, and super excited to be here today. As you can tell, I am solo today. Both Terry and Eric are in Long Beach, California today. And so I get the pleasure of speaking to two amazing gentlemen coming up here. We've got Dave Leskusky, president of Printing United Alliance, and Tim Anders, president and CEO of ASI. And they're going to be joining me here in just a moment for a wide-ranging conversation. Back in November, you guys might remember we scratched the surface of kind of some cool things going on. We actually rushed them on before the Reggie nominations were announced because they had a big announcement, and we'll talk more about that today. But we talked about it then. We're going to deep dive a little further into what this kind of partnership means between ASI and Printing United Alliance, and just getting an opportunity to talk to two gentlemen that are so deeply ingrained in the success of both of their industries and how that comes together. Just really kind of looking at the whole world of print and promo and how that all comes together. So it's going to be a great conversation today. I can't wait. I actually was talking to the gentleman before we got started here, and already really good stuff that we were talking about. So I probably should have hit record, but we'll get back to that. And then as far as secret sauce today, we don't have anything scheduled for today. Normally Dane Clement would be here to talk a little art stuff with us, but he is also in Long Beach. So we figured, you know what, let's just take a week off from secret sauce. And then we will get right back to that next week, and we'll get Dane back in here soon. So with that being said, though, we do still have the news. Cassie Green from The Apparelist has got some headlines for us that she put together. So let's hit that, and then we'll come back and keep the show rolling here. So here we go.
Hello, regulators. I hope everybody's having a good week. I am having to record this news segment ahead of the ISS trade show. If you are currently there, find me, say hello. Would love to see you in person. But let's get to some headlines this week. First headline that I have for you is Imperial Headwear continues hole-in-one partnership with the AJGA. So Imperial Headwear is set to continue its partnership with the American Junior Golf Association, AJGA, through 2026. For the past 6 years, Imperial has been the official headwear sponsor of the AJGA, sponsoring and promoting over 200 events per year, as well as assuming the title sponsorship of one AJGA event each year. So you can get more details in the news link. Second headline I'm going to share with all of you. Ecotex announces new 2025 regulations. So the Ecotex Association has released the updated testing criteria, limit values, and guidelines for its certifications based on the latest scientific research and legal developments. This press release was shared with us on January 14th, 2025. So any changes since then, you'll have to check their website. But key changes include enhanced organic cotton certification through Ecotex certain organic cotton, with inclusion in the Ecotex Made in America, stricter BPA limits under Ecotex Standard 100, and rigorous transparency requirements for leather supply chains under the Ecotex Leather Standard. So there is a lot to dissect here, but long story short, it's really important, especially if you do tend to purchase things that are Ecotex certified. So make sure you get those details. Final headline I have for everybody today is there has been a new podcast series launched between the Alliance, Printing United Alliance, and ASI called Branding Together. Branding Together is part of the ongoing partnership between Printing United Alliance and ASI, and it will dive into the convergence of printing and promotional products industries. Hosted by myself and ASI editor Teresa Hagel, we will publish monthly episodes. Overall goal of the podcast is to educate promotional products distributors about the intricacies of the printing industry and vice versa, educating the printing industry about promotional products. So each episode will have a different theme. This month for January, we talk a little bit about the essential things you need to understand about each industry. Plus, we make a few New Year's resolutions that are definitely worth keeping. So that's all I have for you this week. Hope to see you all soon.
All right. Thank you, Cassie. Appreciate you taking the time to record that. And like she said, if you happen to be tuning in here from the Impressions Expo show floor, go find her and say hello and thank her for all she does for the industry. Really cool. And I can't wait to check out the Branding Together podcast up there. I have not had a chance to check that out yet. I know we're going to talk to Dave and Tim about that shortly. But we would be remiss if we did not bring you a dad joke. And leaving me to my own devices, you guys are going to get what you get. But here we go. We'll see how this one treats you guys. So here we go. All right, you guys. So I don't know if you knew this about me, but I have a fear of speed bumps. Yes, I'm slowly getting over them. Okay. All right. Lots of head shaking. I appreciate that. I do that to our poor guests before they have to dive in. But yes, so there we go. If I have a fear of speed bumps, but I'm slowly getting over them, put that in front of a 8 to 12-year-old, 13-year-old baby and see what happens. They're going to love it. All right. Well, before we dive in here, you guys, I do want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. As we continue to get into, we're nearing the start of our 13th season here, and we're always looking for new voices. So we would love to have you, the regulators, or anybody out there in the industry participate in our show intros. So if you will go to decorators.inc/intro and just read a few sentences, it walks you right through it right there when you get there and be part of the show. And I've got a couple that I'm just wait for a few more to start creating the next new intro here. So would really appreciate that. As we get, I think today is episode 581. So to continue on to make it through 600 and beyond here, we're always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, then go pick a Friday that works for them over at calendly.com/two regular guys. That's the number 2 regular guys. Or if you just know somebody you want to recommend and we can reach out to them, just email us info@tworegularguys.com with all of your show ideas or any feedback. We're always welcome to take in any feedback. And then for those of you, and I know most of you still listen on the podcast side, and we love that. So if you are checking out the podcast version of our show, we would appreciate any sharing that you can do. So you can have other friends that are regulators. You guys can talk about what this cool bringing together of print and promo today, for example, and do all that. So we'd also love it if you could give us a review. We are on most all of the podcast platforms, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify to iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts. So wherever you're listening right now, if you wouldn't mind taking a moment and just giving us a review, that would be very appreciated. And for those of you that are watching live here, see some good mornings. We'll check in with you guys here shortly. In fact, let's just do that real quick here. We've got collegiate press wide format. We've got Craig checking in. Good morning, Craig. And I had Rena here earlier. She said, nice shirt, Cassie. Cassie was wearing the regulator shirt there. And so appreciate you being here, Rena. I think Rena might be at the Impressions show or heading that way. At least I know she's in the area. So check that out. All right. But if you are watching live, please go ahead and share this and join in with your comments and questions for Dave and Tim. And with all that being said, I think it is time to bring in our guests here. Let me get to the right scene. All right. Well, welcome back to the show, Dave and Tim. And thank you guys for spending some time with me here today. Let's get that comment out of the way. I don't know why that's stuck, but so we can see Dave. Thank you guys. Appreciate you being here. So real quick as we get started here, I got to talk to you both briefly in November, but for anybody that missed that or just kind of give us a recap, tell us a little bit about you guys and your organizations to start us off. So Tim, can I go ahead and start with you?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks again for having us back. I really appreciate it. The dad joke, my appreciation is a little less maybe, but I'll try to.
We'll work on that.
ASI is a business that's been owned by the Cohn family since 1962. We really have built and nurtured the largest community of people in the promotional product space in the world. We have about 25,000 members. We have large trade shows. We have an ESP technology platform we'll talk a little bit about that really helps manage the entire supply and marketing chain of the industry. We've got hosted buyer events. We've got these trade shows. We've got magazines, websites. So we really are the hub of the promotional products industry for technology, marketing services, events, news, research, really everything you need to know about promo.
Awesome. Yeah, great. I can't wait to dig into more of that, and we'll definitely do that. But Dave, give people a little kind of synopsis of NAPCO and Printing United Alliance.
Yeah. Thanks, Aaron. So, Printing United Alliance is actually the amalgamation of three different associations, which was SGIA, formerly Printing Industries of America, and ID Alliance. The company that I ran, North American Publishing Company, or NAPCO Media, was acquired back in 2019, and we rebranded in 2020 as Printing United Alliance. Since that time, we actually merged with BrandChain, which was a print distributor association as well. So we are a not-for-profit trade association, have about 4,800 members and growing rapidly. And we basically provide services, whether it's training and education, research and economic data, do a lot of legislative and regulatory things on the Hill. Have human resources programming, and then obviously the expo, and then a bunch of hosted buyer events for basically anybody that puts ink on just about anything. And that is from apparel to commercial, direct mail, catalogs, that kind of things, to wide format, industrial, and now promotional products as well. So from an association perspective, we'd like to, continue to grow and be what NRF is, the retail, or what CEA is, the consumer electronics industry, and basically speak for the entire industry of printing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I knew that you guys had brought some other associations in, but there were a couple of them that I wasn't familiar with. So that's really cool. Yeah, it's such a cool thing to be part of the bigger picture too. We're obviously an apparel, decorating, t-shirt people here, and so I think sometimes we kind of get this like in our own little world, and we don't realize that we're part of this bigger picture. I appreciate that you mentioned the work that you guys do on the Hill. I know that's a big part of it, and maybe doesn't get enough play out there in the industry. So as we kind of dive in here, guys, Tim, I want to start with you here. This, obviously, as I just said, it's an apparel podcast, and so I think people might not be as familiar with ASI as I'm hoping they're going to be after this. And so maybe just kind of talk to us a little bit more about the promotional products industry. I was reading a blog that you wrote where you noted that the industry achieved a new sales record in 2024. That's really awesome news. So maybe just, like I said, give us a little bit more about the industry, kind of what's your outlook for 2025 and beyond. Just, make us more familiar with what ASI is all about.
Certainly. I mean, promotional products really are anything that has a logo on it. Probably 45% of the industry is made up of apparel. It's become an incredibly important part of what we do every day. And of course, we all see the work that you and your listeners are doing all the time, but it's really become an important part of the promotional products space. The other portion of the businesses are hard goods. Mugs, any kind of a hard good that you can imagine, pens, all the things we're all familiar with. We had a great year in 25. We haven't yet announced what our research shows in terms of the full year, but I'll give you a little sneak peek. It's around $26.6 billion, and that would be a new record. And that would have been for 24. And really, this industry, while it may not be familiar with to everyone, as we talk to our distributors, we have about 20,000 distributors in the network. around 20% of them are in fact decorating apparel. And they are screen printers, or they're using digital technologies, or all the new technologies are coming out. So there's a very big portion of our distributors who said to us, we would really like to have more knowledge and information and education and exposure at trade shows to the apparel space and the decorating space and the technologies used there. So that's really one of the reasons that we did our strategic relationship with Printing United. So we're very bullish on 25. As some people have said, the 24 year, I think we're all happy to have that in the rearview mirror. But 25, I think, is looking really good. The confidence level in our industry is really high. And so we're quite bullish going into the year, not only what our industry can do, but also how we can help educate people that are in the apparel space to be able to add promotional products, hard goods, to what they're already offering. And that's really an important cornerstone of what we're really focused on.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you mentioned before we came on air here earlier that you guys had a successful start to 2025 with a show in Orlando. So yeah, what can you kind of share any outlook that came from that?
Yeah, I mean, we had about 5,000 people in Orlando. It was a great trade show. People were very excited about looking at new products. Sustainability is obviously very important and core part of what we do across the board, whether it's in apparel or whether it's in hard goods. So lots of excitement coming out of that. I think some of the questions about the economy are still there, and tariffs and all the kinds of things that we were all thinking about. But overall, people were very bullish coming out of the event and then rolling right into the year.
Yeah, I love it. And it, again, just makes, match made in heaven here for sure. So I'm excited about this. So Dave, I want to hear from your side then. Let's talk print for a little bit here. NAPCO, I got to see and talk to some folks firsthand when we were out in Las Vegas this last year, and you guys do a lot of research. There was a stat that stood out to me, and 68.8% of those respondents had said diversity beyond their primary print segment was important to them.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing as highlights or innovations and kind of speaking to this partnership?
Yeah, and I think that's why, as we launched Printing United, that stat, we've been tracking that stat since 2018 in terms of printers getting into other services. And that's kind of how Printing United came to be as we started working with these other associations. And then obviously with Tim's company this past year. I think as we look back at 2024, was a little soft. We probably as an industry, according to Andy Paparosi, our chief economist, sales only grew about 1.7% holistically across, all different types of printers, which is really not what we wanted to see in 2024. I think to make matters a little bit worse there too is that we found that the ability for printers to raise prices didn't even maintain kind of what they were dealing with inflationary operating costs. Yeah. So we need to see that improve a little bit. Now we do see, we are much more bullish on 2025. We think between some of the monetary stimulus, fiscal stimulus, and some of the deregulation that we see potentially coming in, printers are definitely a lot more bullish than they were in 2024. But a lot of things have to shake out. From a standpoint of innovation and automation, that's probably the biggest thing that printers need to focus on. I don't think this is going to be a rising tide that lifts all boats. I think it's going to be, those printers that look for more automation, primarily utilizing AI in a lot of cases to help enhance workflows and find efficiencies are going to be probably at that top tier. But we are very, very bullish on 25. In terms of diversification, we see that definitely continuing. Whether it is printers buying new technology to get into other markets that they haven't served. We see more and more partnerships happening between printers that service different markets or distributors that service different markets. Yeah. And I think we're going to see more on the M&A front, whether it's, printers buying other printers, printers potentially, buying distributors or working with distributors, basically to try to provide that one-stop shop, because I think that's what everybody's pretty much asking for. I was down at the ASI show in January. It was a great kickoff to the year. What was intriguing to me, and as it pertains to the apparel market specifically, is one of the reasons we got involved with ASI from the get-go is when we launched Printing United back in 2019, and from an association perspective, we still owned the promotional products brand called Print and Promo. And when I would be out talking to distributors, one of the biggest questions we always got is how do we go out and find apparel decorators? We sell, over 30% of what we sell is apparel. But we don't necessarily know where to go find great apparel decorators to actually help us fulfill this. And that has continued even when we were down in Orlando. So working together with Tim's group now and with our membership, a big part of this is trying to be able to put distributors and apparel decorators together, because I think we can actually continue to grow the category.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, as I listen to you talk, right, I visualize, let's just get everybody sitting down at the same table together and figure out how we can collaborate better. And that's what it feels like to me. Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right. Well, Tim, you were talking about some innovations going on, and I know that you guys are very knee deep in the middle of innovating and launching and creating things for your members. So the launch of the ESP Plus store, if I believe I'm getting that right, is something that has occurred, I believe. So give us a little bit of information about that, and then maybe talk to us about how an apparel decorator might be interested in learning more about this.
Yeah, absolutely. The ability for people to have stores that sort of pop up, and maybe they got a short life cycle because it's a sort of a 2-week activity to school, or whether it's a long-term store that's going to be, for a company or for an organization, a nonprofit. And we've seen a lot of store offerings out there, but frankly, in the last year and a half, as we've done research, no one was really, frankly, thrilled with the offerings they had. So we've invented ESP Plus stores. It is integrated fully into our ESP Plus platform. So if someone's using our platform to run their business, and that's sourcing promotional products, whether it's apparel or hard goods, writing proposals, quotes, and sending the orders out to their suppliers, they now have an fully integrated store solution. And really, within 4 or 5 clicks, you can have a store up and running. So an apparel decorator can select 3 or 4 products that they have in their organization that they really promote, from a supplier in the apparel space, and then they can add hard goods to that store and then put that up and running for a high school or a local organization, and they literally can have it up and running in 15 minutes and take credit cards or take orders or both. So we're really excited about that. We had knee deep in demos in Orlando. We exceeded what we had expected to do there by about 3 times. And people saying, I really want to look at this store. I really want to move my stores to your store, or I've been thinking about the store space for a long time. I really think that in the next 3 or 4 years, every single prospect that a distributor has and every single customer a distributor has is going to have at least one store, because there's really an application for reordering, for ordering new things to raise money. There's really incredible numbers of applications for the store solution. And so we are very committed to the space and really excited about what we've already got up and running, but lots more to come in the first half of the year. We're doing a lot of AI in addition to store space. So our entire platform is AI friendly now. We're doing a lot of work to help people that are using the platform make orders easier, to write and draft emails for their customers, to do all sorts of things so that we can all have more time with our customers and less time, doing the back office things that pull us down.
Yeah. Wow. So interesting, Tim, back in the beginning of 2024. So every start of our year here at Two Regular Guys, we do a show we call 10 Things We'd Like to See in the Year Ahead. And one of the things that I had at the beginning of 2024 was I'd like to see more focus, better work and input into creating store spaces. There were some opportunities out there, and I felt like they weren't really speaking to the entire market. When we had the show again at the start of this year, I said, okay, I still think we got to work on this. Prove me wrong. And I think you maybe just proved me wrong. So
we're super excited about it. And our customers are as well. I mean, I was with some very big enterprise customers who are running hundreds of stores. Either they've built themselves or we met with one distributor who's using 9 different platforms for their store solutions because of the different kinds of needs. And at the end of our demo, he was like, I need this tomorrow for all of our stores. So we're excited about what we can bring to the space.
That's cool. It really is such a great opportunity for decorators of all kinds, because you're locking your customer in. Like they're going to buy from you. They're not out there searching around. They're like, oh, you gave me a store. You gave me a platform that I can raise funds, that I can support my business, whatever that is. I think Yeah, I think it's super cool that you guys are putting that kind of effort into it. So I'm excited to. I'm gonna have to sign up for one of those demos here soon. So.
Please do, because the other piece of this is it automates the ordering process, and so that's really important. As we try to become more efficient in the entire space we all represent, I think that efficiency is really important. There's a lot of work that goes into managing orders, and if we can eliminate that or reduce that order flow problem, that's a huge win for us. We've got an artwork approval in this as well. So from between a client and the distributor, they can get artwork approved without going through 500 emails and try to remember, to get approved. So there's a lot of automation we're doing that we all have to embrace, I think.
Yeah. Dave said that earlier. So I think that's a really important piece. I love that. And Don was nice enough to send over some links and stuff. And so I'll try to get those in the comments here, but we'll definitely get all of these links and things into our show notes when this goes out on the podcast side here this next week. And that way everybody can check that out, click on it, go find out more information. All right, Dave, let's talk a little bit more about some of the things happening on your side too here. But I feel like this is obviously connected in some way, shape, or form. But tell me about Promo Impressions, the e-newsletter. What's that all about?
Yeah. So when Tim and I were talking about the sale of print and promo marketing to ASI, I mean, one of the reasons that one of the the coolest things about working with Tim is that when I saw all of the amount of resources he has in terms of the technology solutions that that they were putting into ESP Plus and everything else, we were much better as partners than we were as competitors from that standpoint. So, but one of the things that we talked about, probably a market that was a little underserved, was that in ESP Plus, there's Tim, over 1 million products, right? That are there, and 3,000 suppliers that decorate those products. Wow. And Tim has that database. But one of the things that for years, even when we were SGIA, we would have promotional product suppliers come and source equipment at the show, whether it was pad printing, screen printing, digital technology. But I don't necessarily really think that promo suppliers thought, well, this is my show to go source technology. Yeah. So we did see a gap there. And when we sold Print and Promo to ASI, I said to Tim, I'd really like to just launch a newsletter to actually help promo suppliers decorate better, whether that's more efficiently, more sustainably, with the best quality possible. Yeah. So Promo Impressions, which is actually going to be launched by the Alliance, it's coming out February 4th, I believe, is the first issue. Ali Bruce is going to be the editor of this. Wow. Is that's really going to be our first foray into more of a how-to newsletter. It's going to be really informative of how to decorate different types of promotional products. Most of what the Alliance does right now is around helping printers run their businesses better. This is completely different, So just to give you a couple ideas, like in the first issue, you're going to see, videos like how to UV print puzzles, or wide format printing makes sense for promotional product suppliers. It's going to be very hands-on how-to things that a promotional product supplier can understand. Hey, I'm going to decorate this product, and it's going to be subject to extreme heat or extreme cold. What's the best process to actually decorate that product? So it's going to be it's going to be something that completely new for us, something that we've never done. With the idea of helping Tim's 3,000 suppliers just have a better understanding of, if I'm going to decorate these millions of products that are coming in, everyone could be decorated with probably 5 to 6 different technologies. What's the best technology for the product that they are going to need to decorate? And then at the end of the day, obviously, we'd love to get them to the expo to actually see all the technology in person, to be able to purchase it if they want.
Yeah. Wow. That's really cool. I love that. And what I think I really enjoy about obviously talking to you guys here, but just kind of this overall big picture, you kind of alluded to it slightly. I mean, in a way, if you guys were not as collaborative as you are, you could go, yeah, we're kind of competitors. But that's not the way that our world works anymore, right? We can't look at things like that. And I think you guys putting the effort in to say, how can we support each other? Has been what I really am excited about, to see how this all comes to fruition, and that Promo Impressions seems like a great place to be at. And I'm a huge Ali Bruce fan too, so there's
she's phenomenal.
Yeah. And her and Cassie, I just always love interacting with them. So, all right, well, we talked a little bit about this last time in November, but this kind of idea of the partnership and, whether we like to say it or not, at our core, we're kind of like, what's in it for me kind of thing. Right. And so how are you guys seeing the synergies between ASI and Printing United Alliance? How are you seeing that benefit the printers out there? What are you guys seeing there? So maybe Tim, if you wanted to start, but Dave, jump in there too.
Yeah, I think education. I mean, we really have focused on how can we bring more education, more information, more knowledge to the markets that we both serve. And I think we really, and I think Dave's example in the new newsletter is a really good one. We've not explained all those technologies to suppliers in the past. And when Dave said, "Hey, this is something we really want," it's like this is huge for us because our suppliers need to know what are those new technologies out there. How can they learn more about that? How can they get certified to do the kinds of work that is required? And the speed of change in all this space that we are all in is tremendously fast, and none of us can keep up with it as well as we would all love to. So I think for me, it's really about education. It's how can we educate our suppliers to be able to know what kind of decorating techniques should they be using? How do they embrace those things? How do they put them in place efficiently, effectively, in a cost-effective way, and offer those to everyone selling promotional products? And then for those people that are either print resellers, they're decorators, how can we help them build their business in the promotional product space on the hard goods side that they may not have had before? And that's through education, inviting them to trade shows. We'll probably get in a few minutes to a trade show we're going to be doing with Dave in 26. So I think that education to me is the cornerstone of this. It's helping people understand how to grow their business and make themselves very profitable money and revenue from their existing customers that they're just simply not fully serving today.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you're in the right place. Two Regular Guys is all about education, so we love hearing that. Dave, what about you? What do you kind of see?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think probably the best part of the relationship was that neither of us are afraid of helping both of our members grow. And I think sometimes you can kind of be a walled garden and not want to kind of want to stay in your lane, but that's not where the industry is going. I mean, we have seen a trend for the last 15 years of printers of all shapes and sizes getting involved in promotional products distribution, and to help them grow more, I think is only a positive for both industries. When I was down at ASI Orlando, what was really interesting to me is the number of suppliers that I talked to that said, I've been hearing you and Tim talk, but I kind of took a step back and I started looking at my clients, and I was surprised of how many of our biggest clients are now have printing in the name or graphics in the name or apparel in the name. And that wasn't the case 15 years ago. And I think from Tim's perspective, the ability for distributors, pure promo distributors, to also distribute print is growing. So, having our content teams down at ASI, doing more education around how to distribute print, because again, it's all about the customer and what the customer ultimately needs. So this is not an either or scenario. Tim and I both firmly believe if we do this right, his members can continue to grow their business, and I know that our members can continue to grow. And it was really just having us both come together and kind of realize that they have strengths where we don't, and how do we kind of synergize those two, where I can give my members access to those things, and then we can give his members access to the things around print that they might not have. So the thing I'm probably most proud of is that getting, Tim mentioned some of the, the editors and Cassie and Teresa, watching the two editorial teams come together and kind of Tim and I have saw this from a 30,000 foot view, but as you get into the execution of this, watching the editorial teams now work together is pretty phenomenal, and seeing all of the things that they've come up with on their own to kind of help start to educate both segments of this market.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we dropped Tim, but we'll get him back here.
Sure.
Internet's fine there, something like that. Dave, I think this is really amazing. Like you said, I think it is fun. Tim mentioned some big numbers there, billions of dollars. And I know print, again, billions of dollars. it's both sides. There's this huge industry that we're a part of, but it can also be a really small world, right? And so when we work together, I think this is actually one of those cases where a rising tide does lift all.
There you go. That's
right. Well, Dave, so we brought up Cassie, and I just credit Cassie for her stance and carrying that flag for sustainability. But I know that's an emphasis not just from Cassie, but from the organization as a whole. And I believe I've read some things from ASI that they understand the importance there as well. Maybe talk to us a little bit about the sustainability initiatives that you're seeing, anything that you guys are a part of. We're really excited. This year's product winner in our Reggies was actually a compostable heat transfer material.
Yeah, saw that.
Transfer vinyl. And so obviously, we're starting to figure this out, but go ahead and we'll get Tim back in here too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I think from our perspective, one of the biggest areas for us is around education to the membership, right? So we have two people, and I believe Gary was on with Cassie back in August. So we have Gary Jones and Sarah Osorio, who basically work with members every day on their sustainability initiatives, right? Wow. So as a trade association, we're here to kind of provide like four key member benefits. One is obviously support as they have questions if they're building sustainability plans, and if they have additional questions around their sustainability initiatives, they can call Gary and Sarah at any point and be a help there. We actually just created an advisory or a committee board all around sustainability initiatives to find out from our members, where they need more help, so we can direct more resources to help them as this becomes a bigger initiative for them. Obviously, education, we do a ton, whether it's webinars like when you had Gary on with Cassie, we do a ton of editorial content. We were actually a founding partner of the Sustainable Green Printing Partnership, which we are very, very proud of. And then finally, it's on the government and legislative affairs side. There are a lot of well-intended bills around sustainability, but that also have some wide-ranging impacts to our industry, especially around extended producer responsibility bills. So we're actually trying to juggle both, where we can do what's best for the economy or for the industry without necessarily hurting the printing economy, as it pertains to carbon black and some other things. On an internal note, one of the things I'm probably most proud of is that in 2024, Trade Show Executive, we actually won their sustainability award for the Expo. And that is amongst all of the trade shows in a variety of different industries. We actually did a deal with, or had a partnership with Domtar, who is a large paper manufacturer, and they combined with us. So for every person who attended or registered for the Expo, we actually planted 2 trees. So we planted 60,000 trees after the Expo in 2023. And also we're doing a ton with Vicom on our exhibitor recycling program. If you run expos, there is a ton of waste that goes into expos. And we have done about a 7 or 8 point program with them where we're trying to get to the point where, we actually get to zero waste at the expo. We're not there yet, but working with Vicom, we've done a lot on that front, and really proud of what we're doing on the sustainability front.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. Wasn't aware of those things. So thanks, Dave.
Sure.
Tim, we're talking a little bit about sustainability. What are you guys seeing from the promo product side?
Well, a couple of things. One, thanks for bringing me back in. Apparently my sustainability is not my electric or my internet, which both went out. So I'm glad I'm back. I always have a backup.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're here.
I've always got a hotspot on my desk just in case. So here I am.
You prepared. I love it.
I would plug a couple of things. One is about 2 years ago, we launched a website at asicentral.com/promofortheplanet.com, promofortheplanet.com. And that's where we really talk about it. It started out as really a glossary of terms. We had some people in the industry said, I'm very confused about all these terms that are going on in the sustainability world. Can you help me sort that out? So we did a very comprehensive glossary that explained all those terms that are very confusing to people and gave examples of what they were and what they weren't. There's a lot of, claims that are made by people about their products that are not true. And we want to make sure that people understand what they should and shouldn't say. But that has really grown into a place where we house all of our stories about sustainability across both apparel and hard goods. And so lots of stories about suppliers doing great things, distributors doing great things, how manufacturing works, government regulations, state and local. So there's a lot of information at that on that area. And we have a sustainability team that works on that. And we mentioned a couple of those people earlier that are doing some newsletters. We also just released our apparel issue of Counselor Magazine, and it's centered around sustainable fashion. And all the looks and the photo shoots from industry suppliers and outside designers were either upcycled or made of recycled materials. And we supplemented that shoot by getting accessories and other things from thrift stores. So we wanted to really show how can somebody who's needs fashion, that needs apparel, how can they bring that from an upcycled, recycled material perspective, and how can you decorate in a very clean way as well. So we're super excited about that. If anybody wants a copy of it, shoot me an email, tim.andrews@asicentral.com, and I'll make sure you get a copy of that latest Counselor issue.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing that, Tim. That's awesome. That's amazing. And I appreciate that, you guys are not just giving it lip service to hey, let's be more sustainable. You guys are actually taking the action to make sure that there's education, there's things that, and again, to your point earlier, Dave, there is this juxtaposition, so to speak, between, okay, yes, we need to be more sustainable, but how do we not affect the economy? Because when we don't have the economy to work on those initiatives, then it's not going to matter anyhow. So I think that's really important that you guys are so invested in it. And I appreciate that very much. All right. Well, Doug says Terry is there. So we got to say hi to Terry. He's over there at the show. And then we've got Dot Tone Dan jumping in. Good to see you guys. So if you guys, by the way, I've just been having a wonderful conversation with these two gentlemen here, but you, the regulators, if you guys have questions, you have comments, you have things you want to learn while we have these amazing guys in front of us here, please go ahead and put those in the comments. Tim, I want to ask you, though, about anything coming up in 2025, any events, initiatives that as garment decorators, we should be listening to, looking at in the promotional product space?
I think a couple of things. One is we have 2 shows coming up, and we would invite people that are listening and that are part of the apparel space to come. One is in Fort Worth. That's March 29th through the 31st. That's at the Fort Worth Convention Center. You can sign up at asishow.com, asishow.com. And then if you can't make Fort Worth, we've got a Chicago show, July 22nd to the 24th at McCormick Place. Both of those shows have full days of education about the promotional product space, the intersection between promo and apparel and decoration. So I think those are both great places to come. If you're really interested, you know a little bit about promo, you don't know enough, and how does it fit in your business? Or if you're in promo, you want to learn more about apparel, both of those shows are going to have great education for those topics, which I think is really important. And then Dave and I can both talk about not 25, but we're starting to explain to people our plans in September of 26 to have an ASI show pavilion at Printing United Expo in September 26, sort of a show within a show, 50,000 square foot pavilion to bring in, a couple of hundred ASI suppliers to explain to everybody who's there about promo and the products they can look at. And of course, we'll be driving attendance to that show as well through our 20,000 distributor network.
Wow. Yeah. We're looking forward to that for sure. Yes, a big reason that we were so excited to bring you guys on back in November was this announcement about the show within a show. So maybe any updates since we talked in November of things that kind of maybe solidified or things that we should be thinking about. I know that's still a little ways off, but it's going to come up faster than we think, probably, and especially for in your guys' case, planning it all and whatnot. So, Dave, how about you? What are you seeing there?
Yeah, so in terms of 2025, we're pretty status quo in terms of events. The Expo is going to be the 22nd to the 24th in Orlando, which is we're selling out fast, which is great to see. And then we have the Apparel Decoration Summit, which is our hosted buyer event, June 2nd through the 4th, and that is in Nashville. So any regulator that's out there that is looking, that is in the buying process for a piece of printing equipment, let me know. And we'd love to have you down at the Apparel Decoration Summit. It's actually an awesome format. And we are going to bring either Tim or Matt Barnes or somebody from his team down there this year to talk a little bit more about the overlap with promo and apparel decoration. And I would just again plug, Tim's shows. From an apparel decoration side, if there is any trepidation about getting involved in promotional products, going to ASI, either Fort Worth or Chicago, just to learn a little bit more about the hard goods side of the business, and especially now with the ESP Plus stores and what that can do. I think there's a lot of concern around it's a whole new thing and the customer service aspect. Going to those shows and talking to other decorators that have either made that leap or to Tim's team that have coached other decorators through this process. It is just a wealth of information. So I highly recommend that. In terms of the show within a show, I'm super excited about that. One of the things in talking to Tim's suppliers at ASI Orlando, they are obviously they're looking to source equipment, for their own businesses. So Printing United is a no-brainer for them to go walk the show. But when you think about the apparel decorators and the other printers, whether it's commercial, implant, or wide format, that are already doing promotional products, we already have close to 6,000 attendees that are in the promotional products realm.
Yeah.
If once Tim begins to turn on the marketing engine and look at, his distributor base that's west of the Mississippi to try to get them there, our goal is for the hard goods suppliers to basically bring them, a nice mix of maybe current customers, but more importantly, net new customers that are expanding into this promotional product space that maybe they're not talking to on a regular basis. And for the apparel decorators that are there, going to the apparel zone and looking at all the soft goods and the equipment, walking through the distributor marketplace that Tim and his team are putting together and just giving you that Big Ten approach.
Yeah.
We're just trying to create a marketplace where, look, maybe hard goods is for you, maybe it's not. I think it's a very nice extension to your business.
100%.
But if you want to know that in a nice, comfortable learning environment where you can ask questions, it's, a no stress or low stress environment. Come and learn everything about the hard goods industry.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Tim, tell us a little bit more about the show within a show concept here too. Like, what can people expect to see when they walk onto that nice red carpet? I'm assuming it's going to be very red. So
Dave and I are still negotiating the red carpet. I'm glad you gave
all right. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to have a lot of education, both in that pavilion, but also outside the pavilion in the educational spaces, to really bring people in and explain it. The suppliers that we are working with to be exhibiting in that show within a show are suppliers we know, are patient educators themselves, so they can explain to people that maybe have not been in the promotional product space yet, how they can work with them. They've got lots of case studies of how they work with decorators, lots of case studies of how do you incorporate hard goods in a soft good apparel sale or a relationship. And so I think, so that's all there. And then of course we'll be there to help talk about the technologies that we offer and the ways that we help people run their business in promotional product space. So that's, I think, going to be helpful. And then, of course, we also we have hosted buyer events as well. And so for those decorators or distributors that qualify, we'll also be talking about some of the hosted buyer events that we have, where they can come and learn more in a one-on-one, more intimate setting, which I think is probably very helpful to some people that are new to the space.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tim, I know it's still very early, but have you had some people that, you've told about the show within a show and they've kind of gone, yeah, I'm in? Like, is there
pretty excited? I would say people are pretty excited. I think that people have been, sort of surrounding the big Printing United show. If you're a promotional products supplier and you're not in the apparel space and you're selling hard goods, the Printing United show floor can be kind of daunting. Am I going to be lost? Am I going to be next to people that I know and other kinds of customers or other vendors and exhibitors? So I think they feel really good about the fact they're going to be in their own little community so that people can come in and not just visit one promotional product supplier, but they can visit a few dozen while they're there. And so they feel really good about not potentially being lost on what is a massive show floor that Dave and his team have.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love it. In fact, Craig says here, I'm trying to get my company here to get a laser engraver to enter the promo space for shorter options, right? So yeah, how do you educate people on that? Yeah, so good stuff there.
We have lots of exhibitors on the laser engraving side on the show floor at Printing United.
There you go. There you go. And yeah, so check that out. Yeah, I know Orlando's still a little ways off, but if last year was any indication, we were saying that about Vegas at a certain point, and I'm like, no, it's actually like right around the corner here. So we need to. So I guess, guys, the other thing I'd love to hear from both of you guys is, we talked a little bit about what you kind of are expecting. You're both very bullish about 2025, but if you could like give our listeners kind of one piece of advice that might be useful for them as they think about this convergence of promo and print and all that, what do you think that might be? I'm kind of putting you guys on the spot here, but Dave, anything that shows up for you?
Yeah, I think it's what you mentioned earlier. I think it's not a one size fits all. So whether our job as an association or as a media company is to provide information. So whether that's about DTG, DTF, every new technology that's coming out, AI, mergers and acquisitions, diversification. It might not, there's not one thing that it is right for every business, right? Yeah. So don't chase the shiny new object. I think you have to look at your own business and look at your own customer base, look at your workforce, and really try on a couple of different things to see what might be right for you. I would love to, from a standpoint of the expo, obviously our exhibitors love to sell equipment. But maybe buying new equipment to get into a new industry is not the best first step. Maybe there are partnerships that you can make. Maybe there's other relationships. And I think, really trying to look at your business and not, looking at, kind of falling into the FOMO of, oh, well, everybody's doing this, or I'm reading this, everybody's doing this, I need to do it. It has to be right for your business. So there are 1,000 great ways to grow your business. But not everything is exactly what the person next to you is doing. So I would just say, do your homework. And if you have questions, that's what we're here for. We are happy to help, but don't fall into the fear of missing out and make a bad business decision.
Yeah. Wow. Great advice, Dave. Thank you. Tim, what about you?
I think Dave makes a really good point that if you want to enter the promotional product space, you don't necessarily have to have inventory or decorating equipment to do that. So if your equipment doesn't do it, our suppliers are happy to decorate and happy to warehouse product until you actually need it. So I think that's another big win. I think for people in this whole space, I think it's be fearless in your business and, know your business, know your clients, talking about what they need, what can you add to what they do for them. And I think the promo is going to be it.
Wow.
Or one of the answers at least. But one of the answers at least.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And honestly, in a way, I love what you guys do at ASI, because it does feel like, I don't have to own equipment, right? That's the whole point. You guys are bringing collaboration together, and I think that this is what we're seeing between you guys in general. But those are perfect points to leave this on, you guys. Thank you so much. Anything that we missed? Anything that you guys want to make sure that we get out in front of the regulators before I let you go here?
I think just reach out. If you need some help, or you need advice, or you want to just talk more, just reach out to either of us. We're very easy to find, and as you can tell, we're both happy to talk.
Absolutely. Dave, anything that we missed from your side?
No, I'd echo the same thing. I think, both of our teams are more than willing to talk to anybody that has questions. I love being on the show. So thanks for having us. And also just give a little bit of plug for Branding Together, which Cassie mentioned earlier on. We actually came on this podcast before we did our own. So we're going to be doing that one next week. But overall, we really want to help both sides of this industry here grow as much as we can. So don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you guys are both amazing, and I appreciate that your willingness to help people and lift the industry up as a whole is fantastic. So, all right, guys. Well, again, thank you so much for your time today. Really great talking to you. Glad we got a chance to kind of dig in a little deeper, and I can't wait for everything coming up. And being on the red carpet or whatever carpet color that ends up being in 20.
It will probably be red.
Okay. All right.
I think you help push. I think you help push it over the line. There, so
Okay.
that's
All
great.
right. Well, it feels right. All right. Well, thank you. You guys have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you soon.
You too. Thanks for having us, Aaron.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Oh, what a great conversation with those guys. I love it. And, they're obviously in charge of rather impressive operations, what they're doing. But yet they are willing and able to reach out to them. Just super down to earth guys. And it shows that they've got teams of people that, bring in content. They just care about lifting each other up. So, I love it. I'm really, really excited about 2026 and that show within a show, but just the partnership that's happening. You guys know me. I'm a big collaboration guy. So if we can collaborate more, I think we're going to be more successful. All right. Well, we've said that, this year we're going to try to kind of tighten things up a little bit. And this was perfect. We got a ton of great information. And so as we kind of wrap up here, I do want to share a couple things that I've got coming up here. Eric and Terry are there at Impressions, so we'll hear more from them next week. But on top of the amazing education that we're seeing at all these shows, I'm excited to be back at the DAX shows this year. Those fit their space of that small regional Midwestern stuff. And I've got 2 sessions that I'm going to be presenting in February 21st. So my first session will be called Fast Track Your Success, Half the Time to Achieve Your Goals. And I'm going to share some of the strategies that I use to take this big goal of writing a book that I had planned out for multiple years. And then I completely redid it and restarted it and actually finished it in 6 months instead of the couple of years that I felt like it needed to have. So, and I'm very proud of the accomplishment. So I broke that down into how did I make that happen? And I'm going to share that at that session. And then on February 26th, the next day, I'm going to be talking about how to master pricing for profit. We're going to be talking a lot about perceived value for sure, but just kind of maybe sometimes as business owners, we get a little too stuck into the, what everybody else is doing and some things like that. So we're going to talk about some strategies to master pricing and feel confident when somebody asks you, well, how much? I know for a lot of decorators, we go, oh, I don't know. I get a little worried about that. So hopefully you guys will learn from that. So go to daxshow.com to check that out. Register for the show floor at no charge. And then you can add those 2 classes and any more amazing classes that they're going to have there in Kansas City. Speaking of amazing events, I'm really excited about an upcoming retreat that I get to co-host with a really good friend of mine. It's called the Summit of Success, and it is coming up April 10th through the 12th. It's going to be at a gorgeous lodge up in North Dakota, nice, peaceful, amazing place. I believe as business owners, this could be the difference between burnout, struggle, and a challenging year, or what we hope, in fact, what we know you're going to leave the summit with is just joy, peacefulness, and honestly, what I believe will be your best year yet, because you're going to grease the rails to have that success show up for you. So it's going to be an opportunity to recharge, realign with why you started your business. And you're going to enjoy 3 days and 2 nights where you don't have to do anything but focus on yourself and your business. The all-inclusive registration is only $1,500, and it covers meals, lodging, and all of the educational sessions. There are only 11 rooms available for the retreat. So if you want to secure your spot, you can go to osg.link/SOS, or you can reach out to Becky Kotzer or myself, and we will give you more information. And Rena said, talk to Becky about it yesterday. It sounds amazing. So there you go. Thank you, Rena. Looking forward to seeing you out there. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you guys is we have an amazing Facebook group, and you can check it out. And it's just a place for business owners to come and discuss kind of deeper things beyond the surface level stuff. Right? We'll talk about whatever we need to help each other. But really, I love getting into some of the perspective, the mindset, and a lot of those things. So check that out at osg.link/group. All right. So I think that is what we've got for you guys today. We've come to the close of another show here. I do want to thank Dave and Tim for their time today. Just incredible information, really exciting stuff. And I'm really excited about the fact that they're both very bullish on the market. When amazing people like that are bullish, it makes me even more bullish. So excited to see what 2025 is all about. Our next show next week, I will have Terry and Eric back with me, but we're going to have Chris and Greg from Instagraphics. They're coming to talk to us about outsourcing DTF and the tools needed for success when you're doing that. Show that you don't want to miss. DTF is still all the rage, so we're going to see what we can learn from Greg and Chris at Instagraphics. And again, Terry and Eric will be back next week, so there'll be much more graphics and all sorts of cool things that Eric always makes happen that I couldn't do on the fly here today. But great show today. Thank you guys, and appreciate everybody tuning in, and we will talk to you again next week.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Two Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Two Regular Guys.